guys, my name is Debbie. I am a fashion designer. In this video, I want to show you how to draft a pattern for a panel skirt. In my last video on my YouTube channel, I shared how to do a pattern drafting for a panel sleeve, and I mentioned in that video that skirt trousers can also be in form of panels. Some of us might have been hearing 6-piece skirts is actually a panel skirt because it's into pieces or probably panels. Before you can do this, you need a basic skirt pattern. So this is very important, and if you feel that you don't know how to do this, or you don't have an idea, I would advise you go to Thydee Fashion YouTube channel and search for videos on basic skirt or pencil skirts. Okay, I have some videos there. Now like I said, I'll quickly go over this. This line is my waistline, and this line is my hip line, and this line is my desired nail. Now for my desired nail, I usually call it desired nail. You can call it whichever name you wish, but for me, I prefer to call it my desired nail. Desired nail is quite different from natural nail. Desired nail is the line or the spot where your design or style starts from, and that is why you need a desired nail line. All right, so usually the effect does not start from the natural nail. Yes, it doesn't start from the natural nail, because if it starts from there, it might be a bit difficult for you to be able to walk. So that's why the effect must start from the upper nail, I mean few inches above the nail. So, and you need to also decide that. So if you're making a panel skirt for somebody, then you need to take the measurement directly on the person. All right, so, and this is my hemline. You can decide how long you want the skirt to be. Okay, so now from this point to this point is my waist round divided by 4 plus my 1 inch dart allowance. Okay, and here from here to this point is my hip round, I mean, divided by 4. You can add ease allowance to that if you want. Okay, and here is my darts. My darts on the front pattern should be about 2 or 2.5 inches above the hip line, and usually from this waistline down to the hip is my hip depth, and from here to this point, like I said, you need to take the measurement yourself. Okay, but for me, if I'm doing making a skirt like this for myself, I use 19 inches. Some it could be 18, so you need to also consider taking the measurement directly. Okay, and from here to here, natural nail and all of that. So here, this is my back, this is my front. You can see my center front is here. This is my center back. From this point to this point is my waist round divided by 4. Just the measurement you have on the front pattern, you can just copy and paste here. Then the dart length here is about 1.5 inches above, 1 or 1.5 inches above the hip line. The idea is if you're using 2 inches above the hip line here, -1 will give you 1 inch above the hip line on the back pattern. So that's what I do. And if you're using 2.5 inches above the hip line on the front part, then here you also need to -1, so that will be 1.5 inches above the hip line. You can see that this skirt is a bit shapy. Here is my desired nail. So what I did here is just to minus maybe 1 inch from the measurement I have on my hip line. So if I have from here to here 10 as my hip round divided by 4, then -1 will give me 9 inches on the desired nail, and since I have 9 inches here, so I'll just move to the hemline and, you know, insert the same 9 inches so that you can have a straight line from here, from the desired nail down to the hemline. And you do the same thing on the back, but the only difference here is that the 1 inch that you came in with on the desired nail, you divide that by 2. Okay, so you can see what I did here. From here to here is 10 inches, which is my hip round divided by 4, and minus 1 will give me 9. Normally I'm supposed to add 9 directly from here to here, but because I want the back to also have a very good shape and for the ball to also protrude a little, I need to divide that 1 inch by 2. So I'll take ½ inch from this line in here, ½ inch, and from this line in here, ½ inch. Okay, so from there I connect straight to the hem, then from here I connect straight to the hem. So I have 9 inches from here to here. I have 9 inches on the hemline as well. Now the next thing for me is to now know how to divide this pattern into panels. Okay, now this line, you can see this line is called my dart line. Now, how did I get this line? I got this line by dividing my bust span by 2. Okay, now your bust span could be 7, your bust span could be 6.5, it could be 8. Mine is 8, and I decided to measure from this point inward 4 inches because 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, so and on the hemline I did the same thing, 4 inches, and I have a straight and perfect line here. So I now inserted my dart on it, so that's why I called it my dart line. And the same thing here as well. Okay, so I am going to use this guideline, this dart line as a guide for me to actually break this into pieces. Now you could make 6 panels, you could make 8 panels. Usually the center front is supposed to be a fold, okay, and you may not, you know, want a fold on the center front. You may want more than 6. Now if you're making 6 panel skirt, then you need a fold line on the center front. Okay, now if you're making more than 6 panels, then there won't be any fold on the center front. So what I'm going to do, I will just turn my pattern this way. Now let me label this. This is my hip, my desired nail, DK, then my nail, okay, and here is my hem. Okay, you can see, and here I have my waist line. Okay, so whatever I'm doing now, you can do the same on your pattern. This is actually a very small pattern. It's like a rough sketch, you know. So I just quickly, just for illustration purpose, but whatever I'm going to be discussing here can also be replicated on your pattern. Okay, please note that. Right now I am going to come to my desired nail. Okay, now my desired nail is here. Okay, let me just turn this way. I hope you can see. Now on this my desired nail, on both sides of this dart line, I'm going to come out by ½ inch. Okay, and from here I will measure ½ inch outward this way. Okay, now on the back I will do the same thing. This is my back. Let me just try to, this is the front. I don't want you to get confused, and this is my back. All right, so this is my 0.5 on both sides of the dart line on the front part, the front pattern, and here on the desired nail line, you know, you come out, I mean, by 0.5, you come out by 0.5. You are going to connect these points to the hip line. Okay, so it's just like creating another dart on the down part. You know what that does in a garment? It gives it a very lovely and nice shape. Okay, and that is what we are trying to do here as well. So from this point, this very point, I will connect to this point, then this point, I'll connect to this point here, I'll connect to this point, and this point, I'll connect to this point. Okay? You remember that I said if you're making a 6-panel skirt, you don't need to touch this part. Okay, so leave it the way it is. Now in my case, I want to make more than 6 panels. Okay, and that's why I need to alter here as well. So what I did here, I took 1/2 inch away like this to form a dart. Can you see that it's looking like a dart? Then I'll come to the design nail on the center front, and from the center front now I will measure inward 0.5, which is 1/2 inch. I will connect back to the hip line. So can you see what I have? Now, because I am trying to make a panel skirt that is more than 6, I decided to also alter the center front. Usually I'm supposed to do the same thing on the back, but because the center back already has been shaped, so I'll leave it just the way it is. If I have taken 1 inch on this line, I need to return it to the side. Now I took 1/2 inch, that's 1 inch, center front 1/2 inch, that's 1.5 inches altogether. Now I'm going to add the 1.5 inches from this point outward. I hope you understand. Now, because I did not bother to do anything or to alter anything on the center back, I didn't do anything here, so this is what I did. This is just the amount I took away, or that I'm taking away. So I need to just calculate. This is 1/2. That's 1 inch, and I will return it to the side. So I'm returning 1 inch to the side, to the side back. I am going to return 1.5 to the side front. Okay, I'm going to take my eraser. Okay, and I'm going to just clean up here. I'll clean up here. I'll clean up this line as well. Just watch what I do. Because I am going to redraw the line. Okay, so before I go to the back, let me just finish with the front so that you won't get confused. So like I said, all together here is 1.5, and from this very point I'll go out by 1.5. Okay, from here to here 1.5, and this new point now I will connect it back to the hip line. All right, so, and what I did initially was to connect the this first point to the hemline. Okay, so now that we have a new point on the desired nail, this is not relevant anymore. So this point is going to be what I'm going to extend to the hemline, okay, and not this other one. So that's why you need to clean properly to avoid confusion. Okay, so I'm going to extend this point to the hem line. Can you see what I have now? So this is our new side front line now. Okay, all right, so now that I'm done with this, I'm going to extend this line to this point to this point, then this point on the center front to the same center front. Okay, now these points are going back to its source, because the source is actually from the dart line. It's going back to the dart line, and this point is on the center front, is going back to the center front. Okay, so you can see what I have. Now I will go to the back and do the same thing. So this point is going to be connected to this point. Now before I do the connection, I'm going to add this that I borrowed. I'm going to add it back. Okay, so I will just clean the side line. So this was the first point, then I'll move, sorry, this was the first point, so I'll move like this. Now I have added the 1 inch back. You need to add it back. It's so important. Okay, and you connect back. Okay, so now if you're adding from here 1 inch, so what you do here, this line that was here before, the side back, you will just measure 1 inch. Okay, just measure the 1 inch on the hemline and connect. That's all. Please, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Okay, then this point, of course, you connect it back to the hip line. That's our new side back. Okay, can you see what I have? So like I said, you won't touch this one. Okay, so this, then you connect to the point on the hem line. Now I'm going to be cutting out. So let me show you my panels. These are my panels. Okay, so this is my CSB, my center back, SB, my side back. Then this is my center back. Can you see? And this is my center front. And I have my side front here. The next thing is to get another paper and place each of your pattern on the paper. And you ensure you place it right from the DK, the desired nail, because that is where the design is going to emanate from. And make sure you use your tape to secure. I will do this for each of the panels, then show you what next to do. Can you see what I have? Okay. Okay, this is my side front. So each of this panel, the length, we are going to increase it by 1.5 or 1 inch, as the case may be. but mine, I'm going to increase it by 1.5. So from here, I'll measure 1.5. Okay. Then square across. This is my side front, remember? Now, the panel, you extend this line to the center front, to the 1.5 inches allowance that you added, okay, to the length. This 1.5 inches is not really the hemming allowance. It's just like, you know, adding extra length to it, because with all this shaping, your skirt is going to jump up a little. That's why you need to add some extra allowance in order not to like shorten your desired length. Okay, so you extend this line down, so you already know from here to here, if it is, for example, if it is 4 inches, you already know you have 4 inches here. Okay, so now from this point you are going to add extra 5 inches. Now this 5 inches is optional. You could add more if you have extra fabric to work with. So if you have more than enough fabric to work with and you want a very full skirt, then you can decide to add more than 5 inches. Okay, so for example, I will be adding 5. From here, I have 5 inches. And from here, I have 5 inches. Because we decided that the fullness is going to come right from the desired nail. So you are going to connect this point, this 5 inches point, you are going to connect it to the desired nail. And you are going to do the same thing on this side as well. Then ensure that you blend this in a little, okay? Because we don't want sharp edges around here. So right now, can you see what I've done? Okay, so this is my center back. This is my side front, my center front, my side back. Okay, so, and you can see the extension that I did on the hemline. So everything, this extension is being connected to the desired nail. There's going to be a slight alteration on the back, the center. This is the center back. Can you see? So what you will do here on this line that is connected to the desired nail, you will extend it. You extend it as in bring it down or lower it by 2 inches or more. Okay, this is the center back, don't forget. So I'll just put my ruler and extend it down. Okay, you can extend it first before measuring the amount by which you want to extend it. So if it's 2 inches, then you can measure from this point to this point 2 inches, or if it's 5 inches, you do the same. Okay, so let's assume we're adding like 4 or 5 inches or 2 inches. So you should add 2 inches or more. Okay, don't add less than 2 inches, so that at least it can be obvious. If you add 1 inch, it might not be noticeable as such. Okay, so this is how it is. Then you can now connect it to this point with a slight curve or maybe a straight line. Let me just cut it out. So whatever change we want to make, then we can make after this. This is the front panel, this is the back panel. For the side, from this hemline upward, you can go up by maybe 1 inch or 1.5. So it could be 1 inch or 1.5. This is the side. So I'll just blend in like this. Blend from this 1 inch upward, then you blend into the pattern this way. Okay, so by the time this comes together, it's going to look this way. So while this will be up, and can you see? So let me just trim it. So you are only going to go up by 1 or 1.5 inches on the side panel, just around the hemline here. From the hemline you go up, so just to make it more round, to have a more round look. Okay, then you just, by the time you finish joining, then you can trim the sharp edges at this point. You can see how round it is. This is the back. Then let's try to make the front part as well the same way. So okay, so by the time, then please, for the center front, don't bother to trim out the center front or make the center front more round, just the way we did on the side. Just maintain the side. So by the time this comes together and this way, can you see that it's round? So this place, you can just trim it a little. You can trim it a little by the time you finish joining. All right, so that it will look more round at this point. Can you see how it is? Let me just turn the pattern this way, a better view. Can you see how round it is? All right, so center front, side front. This is a lovely tutorial and I want you to try it out as well.